Starting the list at number 1, It Takes Two is the cooperative masterpiece from Hazelight Studios that remains the single best two-player game available on any platform, including PS5. Players take control of a couple magically shrunk into doll form and must work through a wildly inventive series of gameplay scenarios to find their way back to their real lives. Every chapter introduces a brand new mechanic, keeping the experience fresh from start to finish across the entire runtime. The emotional storytelling is handled with surprising maturity, adding genuine weight to the journey beyond just the gameplay itself. PS5 players benefit from DualSense haptic feedback that adds tactile dimension to each environment. The game demands constant communication and cooperation, making it a transformative experience for any pair willing to invest. It took home numerous Game of the Year awards and remains the undisputed benchmark for cooperative game design on consoles worldwide. Second on the list, Baldurs Gate 3 from Larian Studios is a landmark role-playing game that brings the full depth of a tabletop Dungeons & Dragons campaign to the PS5 with breathtaking scope and creative freedom. Two players can explore the entire game together in cooperative mode, making decisions that genuinely shape the story through a branching narrative with hundreds of meaningful outcomes. The turn-based combat rewards strategic thinking and creative use of the environment, from shoving enemies off cliffs to combining elemental spells for devastating chain reactions. Character creation is deeply detailed, with multiple races, classes, and subclasses, creating enormous build variety. The world is rich with lore, hidden secrets, and morally complex choices that provoke genuine discussion between players. Voice acting and cinematic presentation are exceptional throughout. Playing through the full campaign with another person creates a shared experience unlike anything else in gaming, with each playthrough capable of unfolding in dramatically different ways based on the choices made together. Number 3 is Returnal, the PS5 exclusive roguelite third-person shooter from Housemarque that challenges players with relentless bullet hell combat across a procedurally generated alien planet. The cooperative mode added post-launch allows two players to tackle the hostile world of Atropos together, sharing the punishment and the discovery of its deeply layered narrative. Combat is fast, precise, and intensely demanding, with enemy projectile patterns that fill the screen and require constant movement and sharp positioning. The DualSense controller integration is exceptional, with adaptive triggers and haptic feedback, making every weapon and surface feel physically distinct. The roguelite loop rewards persistence, with permanent upgrades slowly increasing survivability across runs. The atmospheric storytelling, told through environmental details and audio logs, rewards attentive players. Returnal is one of the most technically impressive and mechanically demanding two-player experiences on PS5, designed for players who want genuine challenge and a deeply atmospheric science fiction world to explore together. Fourth goes to Gran Turismo 7, the definitive racing simulation from Polyphony Digital that stands as one of the most comprehensive and beautifully realized automotive experiences in gaming history. Two players can compete in split-screen races across an enormous selection of meticulously modeled real-world circuits and fictional tracks. The car roster spans hundreds of vehicles across decades of automotive history, with each car handling distinctly and rewarding driver skill and setup knowledge. The PS5 version takes full advantage of the DualSense controller, with the adaptive triggers simulating tire grip loss, braking resistance, and surface texture in ways that fundamentally change how racing feels compared to previous generations. The detailed livery editor, car customization, and photography mode add layers of engagement beyond racing itself. Online modes expand the competitive experience further for players who want to race beyond local sessions. Gran Turismo 7 is a prestige title that demonstrates the capability of PS5 hardware while delivering hundreds of hours of racing content. At 5, Street Fighter VI from Capcom reinvented the fighting game genre upon its release with an accessible new control scheme, a robust single-player World Tour mode, and some of the most polished and balanced competitive gameplay the franchise has ever produced. The new drive system adds a universal mechanic layer that creates rich offensive and defensive decision-making in every exchange. Two players can face off locally across the full roster of fighters in classic and modern control configurations, making it welcoming for both series veterans and complete newcomers. The visual presentation is exceptional, with character animations that are fluid and expressive and stages that are packed with life and detail. Battle Hub and online ranked modes extend the competitive experience for those who want to test their skills beyond local play. The roster covers beloved classic characters alongside exciting new additions. Street Fighter VI is the best entry point the franchise has ever offered for two-player head-to-head competitive play on PS5.
Sixth on the countdown is Mortal Kombat 1, NetherRealm Studios' ambitious reimagining of the entire Mortal Kombat universe under a new timeline created by fire god Liu Kang. The game brings the franchise's signature brutal combat and over-the-top finishing moves to PS5 with outstanding visual fidelity, and a fresh roster that reinterprets classic characters in exciting new roles. The Cameo system adds a secondary assist character to each fight, creating new strategic layers in both offensive pressure and defensive options. Two players can compete locally across the full character and Cameo roster in Versus mode, with the satisfaction of each successful combo and fatality amplified by the DualSense haptic response. Story mode is cinematic and lengthy, offering a shared narrative experience for pairs who enjoy watching the campaign together. Invasion mode provides ongoing seasonal content and challenges. For PS5 owners who want a visually spectacular and mechanically deep head-to-head fighting game, Mortal Kombat 1 delivers a premium experience.
Number 7 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge, the celebration of classic brawler design that captured the hearts of both longtime franchise fans and genre newcomers with its energy, humor, and exceptional gameplay feel. Players choose from all 4 turtles, plus additional characters, and fight through hand-drawn stages packed with Foot Clan enemies and memorable boss encounters drawn from the animated series. The combo system rewards aggressive and creative play, with special moves and team attacks adding satisfying variety to the moment-to-moment combat. 2 players battling through together on PS5 captures the arcade co-op experience perfectly, with the game designed from the ground up to be enjoyed with a friend beside you. The visual presentation lovingly recreates the aesthetic of the original cartoon, with stunning pixel art and animation. The soundtrack is energetic and character-appropriate throughout. Shredder's Revenge is pure cooperative joy, delivering an experience that feels timeless while being mechanically tight and consistently entertaining.
8th is Overcooked All You Can Eat, the complete collection of the Culinary Chaos series that packs both main Overcooked games and all their additional content into a single definitive package optimized for PS5. Players coordinate kitchen duties across a parade of bizarre and creatively designed cooking environments, from restaurants on moving trucks to kitchens split across ghost-infested buildings. Success depends entirely on how effectively 2 players communicate and divide tasks under increasing time pressure. The difficulty curve is generous at the start, but becomes genuinely demanding in later levels, creating natural moments of both triumph and shared frustration. The PS5 version includes accessibility options that make the game welcoming to players of all experience levels, without reducing the fun. The visual presentation is cheerful and polished, with stage designs that are consistently imaginative. For couples, siblings, or friends looking for a cooperative experience that generates natural moments of hilarity and teamwork, Overcooked All You Can Eat remains one of the most reliably entertaining choices on PS5.
Number 10 is Sackboy A Big Adventure, the PS5 platformer from Sumo Digital that brings the beloved Little Big Planet character into a new 3-dimensional adventure across colorful and imaginative worlds filled with inventive level design. 2 players can join together in cooperative mode and tackle stages that include unique sections designed specifically for 2 participants working in tandem. The movement feels fantastic, with Sackboy's run, jump, and grab mechanics responding crisply to input. Each world introduces new themes, mechanics, and visual styles that keep the campaign visually fresh throughout. The PS5 version takes full advantage of DualSense features, with haptic feedback adding texture to every surface and environmental interaction. The creative presentation, from the fabric and craft visual aesthetic to the licensed music selections, gives the game a distinctive personality. Sackboy A Big Adventure is a polished, family-friendly cooperative platformer that works beautifully for 2 players on PS5 and remains one of the platform's most visually delightful exclusives.
11th on the list is Astro Bot, this celebrated PS5 exclusive platformer from Team Asobi that uses every feature of the DualSense controller to create one of the most innovative and joyful gaming experiences the platform has to offer. While primarily designed as a single-player experience, sharing the adventure on a couch together creates a genuinely shared spectacle as players discover the extraordinary creativity packed into every level. The haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, gyroscope integration, and speaker in the controller all contribute to moments of delight that feel impossible on any other platform. Levels are packed with creative ideas, introduced and refreshed at a pace that never allows the experience to feel repetitive. The nostalgic celebration of PlayStation history woven throughout the world design adds emotional resonance for longtime fans of the platform. Boss fights are inventive and satisfying. Astro Bot represents PlayStation game design at its absolute finest, demonstrating what is possible when a team fully commits to the capabilities of the hardware they are building for.
At 12, Tekken 8 from Bandai Namco brings the legendary three-dimensional fighting franchise to PS5, with its most visually stunning and mechanically refined entry to date. The Heat system introduces a new universal mechanic that allows every character to enter a powered state with enhanced attack properties and unique move extensions, creating exciting momentum shifts in competitive matches. 2 players can compete locally across the full roster of fighters spanning the franchise's history, alongside new additions that expand the cast meaningfully. The character movesets are deep and reward dedicated practice, with each fighter offering a distinct rhythm and approach to offense and defense. Story mode delivers a cinematic narrative with production values that rival major action films. The arcade quest mode provides a structured learning path for players new to the franchise. PS5 hardware handles the dense visual effects of each clash with smooth performance. Tekken 8 is a premier head-to-head fighting experience for 2 players looking for depth and spectacle on PS5.
Number 13 is EA Sports FC 25, the latest entry in the world's most popular football simulation franchise that delivers the most refined and feature-rich football experience yet developed for PS5. 2 players can compete in local matches across a variety of modes, from quick kickoffs to full-season simulations with their preferred clubs. The gameplay improvements in FC25 focus on player movement authenticity, with enhanced dribbling physics and defensive positioning systems that make matches feel closer to real football than previous entries. The PS5 version runs at a smooth frame rate with visual detail that renders player likenesses and stadium atmospheres with impressive fidelity. Ultimate Team, Career Mode, and Clubs all provide distinct long-term engagement paths beyond the core match experience. The licensing coverage spans major leagues from around the world, making it the most comprehensive official football game available. For 2 players who enjoy competitive sports gaming on PS5, EA Sports FC 25 remains the definitive football experience available on the platform.
At 14, NBA 2K25 delivers the most polished basketball simulation experience available on PS5, combining outstanding visual presentation with deep gameplay systems that reward basketball knowledge and controller mastery. 2 players can compete in one-on-one or team matchups across a variety of court settings, with the full NBA roster and a massive selection of legendary players available for competitive and exhibition play. The shooting and dribbling mechanics have been refined to reward timing and situational awareness, creating satisfying skill expression beyond simple button presses. My Career Mode provides a cinematic single-player story, while My Team offers card collecting depth for those who enjoy building custom rosters. The PS5 version delivers arena atmospheres with crowd noise, lighting, and player animations that set a high benchmark for sports game production quality. Commentary and presentation mirror broadcast television closely. For basketball fans sharing a PS5, NBA 2K25 provides a comprehensive and visually exceptional competitive sports gaming experience across numerous modes and formats. 15th is Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, the long-awaited mainline sequel that brought the beloved platformer franchise back after decades with a massive and inventive adventure that more than justified the wait. 2 players can experience the full campaign in cooperative mode, passing control back and forth through the extensive level selection across multiple dimensions and timelines. The new quantum masks add creative gameplay twists to the classic run-and-jump format, giving Crash and Coco abilities that manipulate gravity, time, and the physical properties of the environment. The level design is imaginative and varied, with each stage introducing new visual themes and mechanical ideas. The difficulty is genuinely challenging, with completionist goals that will test even experienced platformer players.
The visual presentation on PS5 is colorful and expressive, capturing the energy of the franchise's best entries while pushing the graphical quality significantly further. Crash Bandicoot 4 is one of the most content-rich and mechanically inventive platformers available for 2 players on PS5. 16th on the list is Cuphead, the hand-drawn 1930s cartoon-style running gun from Studio MDHR that became one of the most iconic indie games ever made through its extraordinary visual presentation and demanding boss-focused gameplay. 2 players take on the roles of Cuphead and Mugman as they fight through a series of creative, multi-phase boss encounters to repay a debt to the devil. Every boss is a unique and visually spectacular achievement, with attack patterns that require memorization and precise execution to overcome. The difficulty is famously high, but the satisfaction of overcoming a challenging boss after repeated attempts is equally significant. 2-player co-op on PS5 allows a friend to join as Mugman, offering revive mechanics and combined firepower that makes some encounters more manageable while adding fresh chaos to others. The DualSense adds subtle feedback that enhances the tactile feel of each projectile and surface. Cuphead remains one of the most visually distinctive and mechanically demanding 2-player experiences on the platform. At 17, Helldivers 2 from Arrowhead Game Studios became one of the most celebrated cooperative shooters of recent years, delivering relentless third-person action across procedurally generated battlefields in a satirical military science fiction universe. 2 players join forces as super soldiers, spreading democracy across hostile planets filled with Terminid bugs and automaton machines in missions that escalate rapidly in intensity. The stratagem system is the heart of the game, allowing players to call in airstrikes, reinforcements, and specialized equipment by inputting directional codes under fire. Friendly fire is always active, demanding awareness of each other's positioning at all times. PS5 DualSense features are used exceptionally well, with the adaptive triggers simulating weapon weight and the haptic feedback conveying environmental impacts and explosions. The cooperative tension of surviving increasingly overwhelming enemy encounters creates natural moments of chaos, panic, and shared triumph. Regular major order events and content updates keep the community engaged with ongoing narrative goals. 18th is Back 4 Blood, the cooperative first-person shooter from Turtle Rock Studios that serves as the spiritual successor to the Left 4 Dead series, putting 2 to 4 players through intense campaigns battling massive hordes of mutated creatures called the Ridden. The card deck system is the game's defining innovation, allowing players to build custom decks of buff cards that modify their character's stats, abilities, and equipment before each run. 2 players working through campaigns together on PS5 must coordinate their deck choices to create complementary builds that cover offensive, defensive, and support roles. The enemy director system dynamically adjusts the challenge based on player performance, ensuring tension never fully dissipates. Special Ridden mutations each require distinct tactical responses, pushing players to communicate and adapt constantly. Act progression unlocks new cards and story content. While the game requires genuine teamwork to succeed at higher difficulties, the cooperative experience of surviving a gauntlet together is consistently rewarding and replayable across multiple run combinations. At 19, Riders Republic from Ubisoft drops 2 players into a massive open-world sports playground set across spectacular recreations of American national parks, including Yosemite, Bryce Canyon, and Zion. Players compete across disciplines including mountain biking, skiing, snowboarding, wingsuit flying, and rocket wingsuit events, either racing each other or teaming up for cooperative challenges across the enormous map. The sense of speed and scale in the wingsuit and ski events is genuinely exhilarating on PS5, with the open environment offering natural lines and improvised routes through the landscapes. The trick system rewards creative aerial and slope play with style points that contribute to progression. Multiplayer mass races putting dozens of players on the same course simultaneously create chaotic and entertaining spectacle. The career progression system spans all disciplines, encouraging players to try every activity the world offers. Riders Republic is one of the most freewheeling and visually impressive multiplayer sports sandboxes available on PS5 for 2 players who enjoy competitive outdoor sports gaming. Number 20 is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, the fantasy-themed spin-off of the Borderlands franchise, set inside a tabletop role-playing game narrated by the beloved explosives enthusiast Tiny Tina.
Two players can explore the colorful Wonderlands together in co-op, battling through a story filled with irreverent humor, unexpected narrative twists, and the franchise's signature loot-driven gameplay loop. The multi-class system introduced in Wonderlands allows players to combine two character classes into a single build, creating a wider variety of playstyles than previous Borderlands entries. The fantasy setting enables a broader range of enemy types and environmental themes than the science fiction world of the mainline series. Spell items replace grenades, adding a magical dimension to the combat toolkit. The overworld exploration layer between story missions adds a light strategy game feel to the campaign structure. For two players who enjoy cooperative loot shooters with strong writing and consistent humor, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands delivers a fresh and entertaining variation on a proven formula on PS5. At 21, LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga from TT Games is the most ambitious and content-rich LEGO game ever produced, covering all 9 mainline Star Wars films across hundreds of levels, open planets, and thousands of collectible characters. Two players can explore the entire galaxy together in split-screen co-op, switching between over 300 playable characters from the full Skywalker saga. Each film's story has been reimagined with new humor, updated gameplay mechanics, and expanded sequences that go beyond the source material in creative ways. The combat system has been significantly improved from previous LEGO titles, with proper third-person shooting and lightsaber combat replacing the simple button mashing of older entries. Planet hubs are large and filled with side quests, secrets, and unlockable content that extends the experience well beyond the main story missions. The sheer volume of content makes this an exceptional value for two players who want a long-running cooperative adventure across one of entertainment's most beloved universes. At 22, PlateUp is the kitchen management and restaurant building game that takes the spirit of Overcooked and adds a deep construction and automation layer that transforms the experience into something more strategic and endlessly replayable. Two players must design their restaurant layout, cook dishes, serve customers, and gradually automate repetitive tasks using conveyor belts, appliances, and smart kitchen planning. The challenge scales dynamically based on how efficiently the restaurant is built, with customer patience and order complexity increasing as the business grows. Unlike Overcooked, PlateUp sessions can be saved and continued across multiple play sessions, making it better suited for longer cooperative investments. The variety of recipes and restaurant themes keeps the content fresh across many hours of play. Creative kitchen design is as important as cooking speed, rewarding players who think architecturally about their workflow. PlateUp is a surprisingly deep and replayable cooperative management experience on PS5 that suits pairs who enjoy planning and optimization alongside real-time coordination. 23 is Trine 5, A Clockwork Conspiracy, the latest and most visually spectacular entry in the long-running physics puzzle platformer series that brings the wizard, knight, and thief back for a new fantasy adventure filled with creative environmental challenges. Two players can tackle the campaign together, with each character's distinct abilities combining naturally for puzzle solutions that feel intuitive and satisfying. The wizard creates and levitates objects, the knight uses physical force and a shield, and the thief navigates through grappling and ranged attacks, creating a natural division of roles. The level design in Trine 5 is imaginative and consistently introduces new puzzle concepts without repeating itself. The art direction is extraordinary, with environments that look like interactive paintings, filled with magical lighting and particle effects. PS5 hardware renders the game's visual ambition without compromise. For two players who want a cooperative experience that is both visually stunning and mentally engaging through creative puzzle solving, Trine 5, A Clockwork Conspiracy is among the finest options available on the platform. At 24, Nobody Saves the World from Drinkbox Studios is the shape-shifting action RPG where players transform between a wide roster of forms, including rat, horse, egg, ghost, and dragon, to navigate dungeons and complete class-specific challenge quests. Two players can explore the world and its procedurally modified dungeons together in co-op, combining different form abilities for effective and often entertaining partnerships. The quest system encourages experimenting with every available form rather than committing to a single preferred approach, pushing players to engage with the full depth of the game's systems. The humor throughout the writing is quirky and consistent, maintaining a light tone even through increasingly difficult late-game content. Visual feedback from form upgrades and progression provides satisfying rewards alongside mechanical growth.
The PS5 version runs smoothly, with colorful and responsive visuals. Nobody Saves the World is a surprisingly deep and creative cooperative RPG that punches far above typical expectations for an independently developed game of its scope and ambition. Closing the list at 25, Cult of the Lamb from Massive Monster is the unique action roguelite and base-building management game where players lead a cult of adorable woodland followers while clearing procedurally generated dungeons to spread the faith and defeat rival cult leaders. 2 players can participate together in cooperative sessions, combining dungeon combat runs with the cult management layer that requires feeding, housing, and indoctrinating followers between expeditions. The dungeon combat is fast and satisfying, with a weapon and curse system that creates varied builds across runs. The base management layer introduces meaningful decisions about doctrine, rituals, and building priorities that give the game depth beyond typical roguelite loops. The art style is charming and deliberately contrasts the cute aesthetic with dark and irreverent humor about religious devotion. Regular content updates have expanded the game significantly since launch. Cult of the Lamb is a creative and entertaining 2-player experience on PS5 that combines 2 beloved genres in a way that feels completely natural and consistently engaging.